Welcome to the Daring to Differ podcast. I am your host, Annacky. Today I am back with another beautiful episode. So I'm going to share with you guys how we live in Namibia, yet we experience the world differently. Although we are in the same borders, we are experiencing life differently. So I'm going to take you on a journey. So the year is 2005. I am in Otjiwarongo and I just woke up. I woke up and I could smell the scent of a candle which was just recently lit. I could also smell the matches which just went off. And at the same time, I could hear my mom pour water into Moshiach. So this was water from the thermos, you know. So she pours the water in the from the thermos into the basin, and she calls me, "Irawi Kero." So I went, I got my Vaslab, and I dipped it into the water. Then I started washing my face, and then I wiped off. And I had to use my Caltex Vaseline. If you know Caltex Vaseline, is Vaseline that usually it's so soft. But on this morning, the Vaseline was a bit cold, right? It's a bit frozen. So I took it and then I applied, and now it was time to wear my school uniform. So I put my hands under the pillow and I reached for my school uniform. Mommy would always put it under the pillow so that it's warm enough for the following morning. So it's so cold. That morning was so cold. And it was very dark also. Although the only light at least which we had was from the candle. So I put on my uniform, and in the corner, mommy prepares. She takes a bath, and she's ready, and we are now going. I'm going to school. Mommy is going to work. So she opens the door. When she opens the door, the sound, there's like a big sound. So this is the sound, yeah, jenge, from the chain. As soon as she opened the padlock, so that chain went off like. You're probably wondering, what am I talking about? So the sound of the chain is a sound for our door because we live in a shack. So mommy opens the door. We could feel the cold. I could see the darkness. It's just around 5:20 by then a.m. It's still very dark. So when we got out, I have this little voice in me. Can we not just maybe stay a bit longer? But we can't. Time is essential in this case. I need to go to school, mommy needs to go to work. So we step out of our shack and we start the journey. So we start walking, and as we are walking on those stones, I could feel the silence in the area. The only sounds we could hear is that of dogs barking because it's so dark. And then we continue walking, and as soon as we walked, I think for the first 10 minutes, we could hear voices like behind us, two people talking. So I turned back and I saw the two men, and already in my heart I was just like, yo, I hope they're not dangerous. I hope they're not gonna do anything to us. But mommy also picked up that two men were behind us. So I saw mommy increasing her pace. She was holding my hand. I could see now her pace was faster. So I also tried keeping up. In the same breath, the two men behind us were also walking fast. Now we tried, we don't want to run, we don't want to do what yet. I could see that they're fast approaching us, but mommy and I, nobody is saying a word. We are just walking fast. And the men approached us and they said, Moro! They said it so loud, Moro! And mommy responded, Moro. And then suddenly, the perception I had towards the men vanished. It was not safe. They were not dangerous. They were just navigating the dark with us. They are going to work too, just like us. So we continue walking, and it starts to get a bit light. Now we can see, right? It's no longer dark. And now that we can see, because we entered another section of shacks, the informal settlement. We have now left our shack behind us because it's in DRC. We're at the periphery of Otjiwarongo, the outskirts of Otjiwarongo. We were literally the last, our shack was the last one. And after that, we just had vast land, just like the land in my background, where you can only see bushes. That's why it was so dark. So we continued walking. And just 45 minutes, or is it another 50 minutes or an hour into our walk, our landscape changes. We are now seeing brick houses, people with beautiful yards, flowers. And suddenly, there's now more children going to school. There's now more people going to work. We are now seeing cars reversing out of their yards. People going to work. Our landscape changes. It's like the area we were in just an hour ago is so different from the area we are in now. So I go to school. Mommy drops me at school. She says, "Ewankeru haraponawa ngandi kironga." Mommy continues her walk, her journey. Now she's going to the other periphery of Otjiwarongo, where her employer was, which is the domestic employer. Just to give context. She goes there. That's where her employer was. I'm so grateful for that family. I start the day with my peers. We are in the same room, but we're coming from different worlds. Break time, I'm having my lunch, my bread, and oras. I see my peers have better lunches. You know, if you're a child, you know what better is, right? A proper sandwich. There's cheese, there's salami. Kids coming with fruits. I only have my bread that has butter and my oras bottle. But that's not a problem, you know? Other kids don't have anything to eat. Some would have $1 and they'll go buy junkies. We come back in the classroom. Our stories, even during break time, are just not, they are not gelling. And I'll tell you later into the story why they are not gelling. The school knocks off. I continue my journey home. And I continue walking. Now I'm walking this path alone. In the morning, I was with my mommy. But when we leave the schoolyard, it's a whole batch or bunch of kids walking. Of course, a few are being picked up by their parents or taxis, you know, but majority of us were footing. We leave the yard, the school premises, a lot of us, and the further we go, the group starts to narrow. It narrows and narrows and narrows until I find only like 2 or 3 of us. And the deeper we go in, I find myself alone. So I am walking. I reach home around 3 p.m. The school knocked off around 12:30, but I only reach home around 3 p.m. I am in an urban area. I am in a town, Otjiwarongo. Yet my reality, my world is so different every day for when I leave school and when I reach home. It's different. So I get home and I open our chain. That sound goes off again. I open the gate for the shack. It's so cold. It's so hot in the shack. The only ventilation we can get is through the door when you open it, when you reach home. There are no windows. But that's not a problem. This is my life. This is how I've lived, you know, for the longest. There's nothing to worry about. Now it's time I need to eat my lunch because last night I cooked. So I opened the pot and what I see is bubbles in that pot. Bubbles because the sauce is rotten. The sauce is stinking. And the sauce from last night. Yet they are rotten. Not a problem. There is still another pot where there's food. So I open that pot, and I know for sure in that pot there's rice. And eating rice with sugar, for me, is not a problem. It's something I've done over and over, meaning I don't really give a damn so much about the sauce. I dip in the spoon in this pot. I take out the spoon like this. I see some stickiness, like glue coming out. The rice is also rotten. Now this food is rotten because there's no ventilation. It gets very hot. There's just no ventilation. I'm not even talking that there's no fridge, you know? There's just no ventilation. So it's not a problem. It's normal to cook a fresh meal, but cooking a fresh meal entails I need to make sure that I go to that little corner of ours, more poha, the pereki, where there's a little kapereki, like a round one, which shields us from the wind, so that for when I make my fire, the wood will not finish fast because of the wind, but rather they are sort of kept off from the wind so that they can continue burning. But then you realize, what do you do? But the beauty is that we are staying at the periphery. Although the wood is done, I just need to cross over and go collect wood. I don't know if you can see it in the background. This is what we used to collect. Like this, you just break it and you carry it. We are living in an urban area, yet my reality is different. So I collect my wood and I go cook. There's nothing wrong with cooking. I prepare my food and I know that the food I'm preparing is enough for myself and mommy and also for the following day. Hoping that the following day when I come from school, it will not be rotten like this morning. I mean, this afternoon. So I collect the wood and after actually I've collected the wood, I'll have to go collect water because we are using prepaid water. So you have a card, you get your, but I was a spoiled child. My mom loved me so much. She'd always tell me, just go collect with a 2 liter. Oh no, the 2 liter? I think no 5 liter containers. So I'll carry two of them. Mommy was like, you're not gonna collect with a 20-liter bottle like other kids because she just felt it was too heavy. So nevertheless, I'll go collect water. And sometimes on our prepaid card, I kid you not, there's just little money like $2 or $5. So for when the water is dripping or dropping into this bottle, we are praying that the money does not finish. So you go back only with one container instead of two. So I get home, I prepare my dinner for the family, my mom and myself in this case. Mommy knocks off at work around 5:30. So around 6:30 ish, I'm already done cooking. I'm waiting for mom to come home. But mommy only reaches at home at 7 p.m., 7:30, because she needs to walk from one end of town to another end of town. So around 7 or 6:30 for 6:45, it's already dark in our area because we do not have street lights. So as mommy said, ipatera mukapereki gekwaruda. So I will go in our shack and I will lock. It's just 7, yet it's so dark and yet it's cold. It's so silent. That silent comes back again. The safety part becomes questionable again. Now, the only shield that I have is the roof of our shack, and I know that our door is locked with a chain and a small padlock, which can be crushed or which can be broken anytime if there is really an intruder who wants to enter. So I am home in this shack. I'm waiting, and it's so silent. And then you hear footsteps, coop, coop, coop. Actually, coop, 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 because mommy walks very fast. And then she says, Wakosankero. And even for days when I am dozing off, I'll be like, hi, Nandikosa. And then suddenly this joy comes. Oh man, the joy comes. Now I'm not scared anymore. My mom is my warrior. My mom is my epitome of safety. So she comes now. Suddenly, I'm not scared anymore. Mommy is here. And mommy comes and she comes carrying. She had a black bag. And in that bag, when she opens it, um, there's always bread. She would like come with a half loaf of bread from her employer. And that is the bread that I'll carry to school. the following morning. That's what I'm saying. I'm so grateful of that employer. I wish I was gonna watch or listen to this podcast, but yeah, Coco has basically. And our night begins, you know. Now I'm telling her what we did at school, da, 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 da. She's telling me what she was doing at work. Suddenly there's no fear, although I was scared, you know. And then would sleep. Mommy would always tuck me in like Mekoro. I'll sleep with my mom in the same bed. And she would always like tuck me in, and that's the night. You know, the following morning, the same cycle begins. We leave our house, our shack, so scared, so scared to walk through the dark. And I reach school, and it's a whole different environment. When I go want to go to the loo at school, I go to the toilet and I flush the toilet, you know. But when I go home and I want to make to use the toilet, and I want to make, you know, number two, whatever, I will have to go in the dark. I mean, I'll have to go in the bushes. And you notice that the nearby bushes have been used so much that due to open defecation, there's just toilet papers laying around. And you have to cross through so that at least you find a spot that is a bit clean. And you also don't want to go far because it's not safe, you know? It's not safe for a girl child. That has been my reality. Every day I have a reality shock. Same town, yet different worlds. And the nights when I've waited for my mom to come home, I would always tell myself that when I grow up, I don't want to be living in a shack. I don't want my children to experience this life. Neither do I want my children's children to experience the life I have lived. It's so confusing. You know, when at school, when teachers tell us about your holiday, how did your holiday go? My story was always just not relatable to some of my peers. Their stories were interesting. They spoke about watching holiday specials, Beastmaster, you know. I've not watched those soapies or whatever they call them because we didn't have a TV. What am I going to talk about? Some spoke about how they came to Windhoek to their aunties. Some spoke about how they went to cross Bamin. I remember there was a girl who would always talk about how she used to go to Gross Bamin. I don't know how Gross Bamin, but yeah. So my reality was always different. You know, and you know when you go to the north, right? Shandi Kowambo, people will be like, "Oh, can we go to Otjiwarongo?" You guys, when you think we are from Otjiwarongo, you all think we probably just stay by that street with beautiful jacaranda trees with purple flowers, or we stay just by that big super spa. That's not our reality, most of us. But similarly, that reality, which keeps changing, is also in the city. When you talk about Windhoek, when you hear when you hear students saying that they are now based in Windhoek, they came for university, don't think that they are all having the same reality or they are all living in the same world where there's so much peace, where there's so much, not peace, but where there's so much safety, especially for the girls and the youth. Students sleep in the library because after they've written their 9 p.m. test, they cannot go back. It's not safe for you and it's far. If you don't leave before a certain time, they are still fetching water, the same water they've been fetching growing a bit at the village. They are still doing it in the city. They are still fearing for their safety for when they leave their shack and walk to the nearest bus stop or to the nearest area where they can catch Okalefa. These are still our realities. This is the reason why I decided I'm going to be documenting this so that tomorrow, when my daughter asks ChatGPT about the realities that we experience in Namibia, stories like this can come up and they'll give them awareness that not all inhabitants are living the life equally, although they are living in the same borders. If we don't document our stories, nobody will document them for us. And our experiences will not be known 10, 20, 30 years from now. Because the experiences that we are documenting as young people are the experiences of the glitz and the glamour, the beautiful things. But for me, as the host of Daring to Differ pod, I said, I told myself, I am not going to leave these experiences undocumented because these are our realities and they have shaped our current existence, you know? So if you've lived the experience that I just shared now, wherever you find yourself, you can be in Windhoek, you can be in Ocho, you can be in Otjiwarongo, you can be in Sokopmund. Almost in every area, town, whatever you call it, there's always people living in different worlds. But for those that have lived or are still living in this reality, just know that you are not behind. You are not behind. You are not behind, and appreciate the good that your parents have done for you. For me, I'm appreciative of the little that my mom did to make sure that we survive. That is the only thing she could do at the time in her capacity. And I appreciate her for that. I'm not blaming anybody, but yet am not also I'm not I will not say I'm not cognizant of what I have noticed that there's so much inequality in this country. As a young person who is the leader for tomorrow, it is my responsibility to make sure that I bridge that gap so that we reduce the number of sheikhs and we reduce the number of children who are going to experience that life. So we need to be the change makers. And the change starts with where you are, where you are saying that I am going to push myself and do something different from what my parents have done because they could only do their best. And it is our responsibility to elevate, to uplift, to build better from where they have ended. And it starts with the awareness. When you eat something that is food that is salty today, because it's salty today, tomorrow you know that I need to put in little salt because I don't want to experience that salty food again. It's the same thing with life. But when you realize you have the awareness that I did not appreciate going home and not feeling safe, going home and not being able to cook food that is enough for 3 days because you know they will get rotten. Buying meat and you know that you cannot buy a lot because it will get rotten and you cannot eat fresh meat every day. But your last resort is to always dry it. You dry everything. You dry fish, you dry steak, you dry everything, not steak, but you dry onyamawan, you know? You can't buy yogurt. Where are you gonna store it? Even if you buy yogurt, you buy one because you know you can't put it anywhere for tomorrow as a child. Hence, Having a lunchbox with yogurt was not a priority. It was not even something I can relate to. Those are our realities in the same town, yet different realities. If you watch this today, let me leave you with the message that it's always possible to undo whatever experiences or whatever realities we have or we had to go through. For me, the reality I had back then is not the reality I have today. I've graduated, I have a job, I have now my own family. All the experience that I've had is so not familiar to me anymore. But I don't want to forget it yet. That's why I am documenting it, because I know it made me, it makes who I am today. Let us create a movement that is so contagious, that is driven to undo all what we did not appreciate, all what we did not like, the realities we have lived in. We are now saying that we do not want them anymore, and we are aiming for better. And this is how the better looks like based on your own definition. So thank you for watching. Change your reality. Nobody will change it for you. This is Daring to Differ. I am your host, Annacky. I'll see you in the next episode.